Get Warrior Tough, Mental Training 101 with Andrew Wittman and Dutch Coleman. And now back to Andrew and Dutch.
All right, we're back at it. You want to join the conversation, use the hashtag #GetWarriorTough, hashtag #GetWarriorTough on the Twitter. Dutch is at @TheDutchColeman. I'm at WarriorToughPhD. If you need to call the office and get in touch with us and speak to one of us, it's 864-977-1443. That's 864-977-1443. I encourage you to, just reach out and have the conversation. Don't be scared. We're not. Right, Dutch?
Absolutely. And I want to jump right back in, man, because I'm intrigued by the conversation we were having in the first segment. Again, whenever we try to take something, I used to always do it in past situations in my life, when people would always take our military personnel and always try to parallel it to real. Well, if our military people are doing this and our military people are doing that, so you should be able to put up with this. And I'm like, no, man, don't ever go to the extreme, because those are very special people. They're a selected group that's volunteered to do something that 99.9% of the population would never even go near, right?
Right.
So we identify them in a completely different category. So let's stop using them as measures, right? But at the same time, we can use what they do and how they do it to help us and to help us grow and help us become better. So I think we need to take, again, that's why we always refer to warrior culture, right?
Yeah,
we want to take aspects of the warrior culture and we want to bring it over into the real world, and we want to we believe it translates. We have
it does.
We have data that shows that it translates. We
That's
have personal experience. We have the experience of others that we've trained, and it's backed up also by science. So that's what we're trying to do here.
And I will say that we only take the good things of the warrior culture, the things that we've deemed that are helpful for people in life. Like I'm not going to scream and yell at you and make you do push-ups. Like that. There is a point for that, but not for a civilian. Like I'm not going to walk into corporate and I'm not going to act like a drill instructor, right? And I'm not going to haze you, and you're not going to have to stand online at attention. Although my kids, I would make them stand at attention, right? Well, like that would be the discipline. Lock your body, stand at attention, don't move, stop scratching your face, right? So, but I'm not going to so we're not going to do that. We don't do that. Well, when you hear warrior culture, all right, what we're talking about is unit cohesion. We're talking about the leadership. We're talking about, and I will even say this, Dutch, the gratitude, because there is enormous gratitude. Now, I wanted to talk about this too, and you gave me permission to. And I got to be careful what I say here, because everybody in the audience knows I've interviewed my son Drew twice. Once early in the last summer, and then after he did his pre-knob visit. He was going to the Citadel, was in his written vision since 6th grade. And he has this journal, and he has a 100-year plan. I have a 300. His is 100. He's planning on getting my 300-year plan done in 100, which I love. But part of his plan was to go to the Citadel. We took him almost 2 weeks ago, I guess a week and a half ago, and dropped him off for matriculation day. He had to report, and so they take the phones, and we didn't hear from him. There was a few pictures because the school posted some stuff on social media, or some parents got pictures that were down there stalking or whatever. And we know our kid, Kimmy and I, we know Drew, and he looked completely happy. We could just see in his face he's content. He's at peace with his decision, and he has exactly what he wants and what he's wanted for 6 years. So we got to talk to him this week. He called. It was like a midnight. He got his phone back, and he's like, I don't care what anybody says. I don't care what the complaints are. I love everything about this place. I love everything. And he said, and you know what? I'm going to tell you what. It makes me appreciate everything. Gratitude. He said, now, Dad, I know. Now I appreciate. He said, I have a bottle of water that I realized I brought from home, and it had tap water in it from home. I can't tell you how precious that is and how grateful I am to just sip on tap water from home. I've been trying to make it last. Would you guys bring me down some bottles of tap water? I'm grateful for tap water. He said,
mission accomplished.
Yeah, right. I'm grateful if I even just get to sit quietly for 30 seconds. If someone just lets me sit down for 30 seconds, I'm grateful for that. I was like, I need to send America through this entire thing, man. So, and he said, I love the cadre. The cadre is his instructors. He loves his chain of command. He loves his squad. He loves everything about these. They're all leaders. And he, and they're yelling at, they're in his face. They're making him go through this crucible, and he's loving every minute of it because it's been on his target. Now, Dutch, you and I have had this conversation. I want you, because you put it in a better way than I do, but it's not that it's easy, but why would he enjoy it and just kind of cruise through that?
Well, and this goes back to what we were talking about, the whole process and why we do what we do. And at the end of the day, if you do what you're supposed to do, if you're prepared for the impending danger, then the result is no longer dangerous, right?
Right.
If you are prepared for a car crossing a street, right, then it's no longer dangerous. Now the person who's not prepared is going to get hit by that car. So when Drew, you and Kimmy have prepared Drew to the point where all these scary things that were going to happen at the Citadel are no longer scary. But it's not that they're no longer scary. You have to focus that in. You have to make that more succinct, more defined, right, and more unique for him. It's no longer scary and dangerous for him. It's still scary and dangerous,
right? Because
there are kids running around the Citadel right now, screaming, calling home for mommy and daddies and all that stuff. So it's still as scary as you said it was going to be. But now that he's prepared, it's no longer scary. So that's the secret of life, is that all these boogeyman stories out here that people are telling you, yeah, they're absolutely true. But the good news is you can be completely prepared for every single one of them, and they're no longer scary. But when you look around, you look to your left, you look to your right, and you see everyone else running around scared, then you understand it's because these things are scary. But the difference is, and what separates you from the rest, is that you were prepared for it.
Yeah.
So I never want to minimize the danger. I never want to minimize the environment. I never want to do that. I want to maximize and I want to highlight your level of preparedness. That's what we need to highlight. Because those other things are happening. It's still happening.
Oh, it is happening. And they dropped like 30 or 27 the first couple days. And, and listen, no one likes getting yelled at. He's like, yeah, even the upperclassmen mess with us, but that's all part of the process, and he has to go through it. So you've got, look, if you didn't have these, and we call it in psychology, Dutch, desirable difficulty, he would never be that grateful and appreciative of everything. So now he knows, okay, and he's in Charleston, South Carolina, okay? He's not in Afghanistan or Iraq getting shot at with the Taliban waiting with an IED to blow him up, and he doesn't have any potable water and no plumbing. That he's still in charge. But the crucible that he's in, he now appreciates everything. Fresh air, to sit down and for 30 seconds. He said, someone gave him a stick of gum, and him and his roommate, it was at the end of the night, they opened up the window, they pulled their chairs up to the window, and they enjoyed chewing a stick of gum. And just had a few minutes of quiet, looking at the stars, just being grateful and appreciative. And now this is the good part of the warrior culture, folks. The good part is that you appreciate everything, and it really cracks me up, Dutch. It cracks me up. And we did a show a couple weeks ago about the millennials, and remember they didn't like how the dress code was. And one of the warriors, she had lost her leg in Iraq. And she was wearing a different kind of shoe, and so all the interns decided to boycott, and they were going to wrote this petition, and not fair that they're, you're not, what I mean? Like I think everybody needs to go through this, man. Let's put everybody through it. Like you should be grateful of how great we have it here in life, and how great life is, and that's just amazing to me that he gets it at 18 years old now.
Right, and the thing is that we're the last people that are going to accept nonsense. So we're not saying you should accept nonsense and be grateful for the scraps that they give you.
No,
but even working from that point, like those young people that were complaining, they weren't coming from a point of being grateful first. Because if they had been coming from a point of being grateful first and been trying to make things better, none of that would have happened.
Right.
So they were coming from a point of what do you call it? They were entitled.
Yeah, I hate that.
So when you're coming from a point of entitlement, you're missing the target completely, or the target is all over the place. You're just shooting in space, and we know what happens when you just shoot in space. Innocent bystanders get hurt.
That's
And
the
so
great thing. That's the great thing about the Warrior culture and what they do at the Citadel is they strip you of your right for entitlement, man. You have to earn everything. So then he said, so we're talking to him, and, you know, classes started today. So he's all excited. So, like, as a freshman, you can't have overnight. You can't leave campus for overnight. You have to be back in, bed check, right? You got to be in. They check you, right? So you can't stay out overnight. So he wouldn't be able to, like, even if we come down and visit him, we have to get him back on campus at, like, 2300, at, like, 11 o'clock or 12 o'clock, something like that. Okay. If he gets on the Gold Star list, there's the Dean's list, which is great for academics, but the Gold Star list is like an even cut above the Dean's list. If you're on the Gold Star list, you can earn 1 or 2 overnights as a knob, as a freshman. So he's like, I'm getting on the Gold Star list. Your GPA has to be like astronomically good. And all your military stuff has to be good. You got to pass your PT test. You got to pass all your inspections. You have to be squared away to get on the Gold Star list, right? So I love hearing this. This is the conversation, not, oh, man, they're just yelling at us. This is miserable. I want to come home, right? So about a year ago, Dutch, we're sitting at a wrestling match, and some other parent's like, oh, your kid's going to the Citadel? They'll be calling you within a week telling you I come home and get my – and I'm like – you don't even know who I am, man. You don't know who my kid is. So you just sit there and drink a cup of coffee, or you know, and let me spice it with this cup. You know, just shut up, right? So
don't speak that on me, Ricky Bobby.
Yeah, don't you give me that, right? So it's just hilarious that the guy's saying this because he doesn't know anything, and this is the call I'm getting. I'm like, yeah, you'll listen, man, just whatever. And here we are. He's talking. So first week is I love everything about this place. I'm grateful for even the tap water that I get from home. And oh, by the way, I'm going to get on the Gold Star list so I can get some overnight leaves and come, you know, hang out with you guys off campus.
Amen.
Drop the mic.
I love it.
Boom.
I love it.
You're right. I mean, you know, so now this is mental preparation. When we get back from the break, Dutch, I want to dive into it a little bit. Because the reason there's scientifically, let's get the science behind this preparation. There's only really so many motivational internal drivers of why you would do something hard like that. Mm-hmm. Why you would do something like go to the Citadel. Well, that's nuts. That ain't for me, right? Maybe it's not for you. But if you're avoiding, I'll ask this question and then we'll go to break, Dutch. This is for the listeners. Do you see a challenge as a threat or an opportunity? When you're presented with a challenge, do you view it as a threat or an opportunity? You're listening to the Get Warrior Tough radio show with Dutch and Andrew, and we'll be right back.